Alright, so today I wanted to talk about why it is better for Netflix to create its own original content and run that over old reruns of TV shows that might have been successful because of the misrepresentation there is of minorities in our society today, if they're even represented at all. So my main influence for this was an article called TV Got Better, because it explains how TV shows we watch are influenced by our peers, events, and conversations. And those three things in today's society are completely different than they were in our country 30 years ago. I believe we've come very far from where we once were in racism and stereotyping and profiling, but there is still things that need to be done. There is still social issues that need to be spoken about, such as police brutality, due to the stereotyping that the media has shown us and led us to believe. They're what we call, in my media communication class, we call that priming. So they show you how to think about a certain community, a certain person in a social class. So like if you think somebody with a low income class, a person of color, like a Hispanic guy from Southeast Austin, you're gonna think, oh my god, he has a gun, he's gonna shoot me. And so that's where things such as police brutality come in, where the cop is primed to think that that person is going to be violent, that they're going to shoot him, so they shoot the guy rather than letting him speak out, because of that's how he was primed, that's how they show him in the media. And so another article that supported the one that gave me the idea for this was TV Got Better, because it explains how Netflix's approach to sales and content can help it go on top of its competitors, and how they actually do put it on top of its competitors. So Netflix's content is very different than what you'd see in a typical TV show. Netflix doesn't have anything to kick them out of a streaming network. They can present what they want. And I think that is so important, because the media has a voice and an influence over our conversations, over our friends. And it's something that needs to be spoken about. People need to be represented. And the Netflix recommender system, so that one states how personalization is important to retain customers. So I'd like to know, as the last part, does the recommender system influence what people watch? So today I'm going to interview 3 people. I'm going to interview 2 of my best friends, first Karina, and then Cindy, and then my boyfriend Mark. And so I want to hear what TV shows they watch on Netflix, how did they end up watching it, do they talk about this with their friends, and do they feel represented? Because if you're talking about these TV shows with your friends, and those TV shows do talk about our social issues, do represented other minorities, you would be having a whole different conversation with your friends. And so I want to learn more about that. So what TV shows do you watch on Netflix?
I watch a Turkish show called Love Me As I Am. What else do I like? Wow. That's the main one I watch, basically. That's all I watch. Or like movies, but...
Alright, and how did you end up watching it?
I watched it because in high school, my teacher showed us the movie, or the show. So from there, I saw that it was on Netflix, so I decided to finish it.
Do you watch any other shows on Netflix right now, or any other ones that you like?
Well, I watched
that you've watched, I guess, yeah.
The On My Block one. I watched that one because a friend told me about it.
Alright, cool. Do you talk about your TV shows with your friends?
Yeah, I fangirl with them, like even if they don't watch it.
So anyways, do you feel like you're represented in the shows that you watch or that you've watched?
I think I'm represented in the On My Block one because it's all about like Hispanics or Latinos, and I'm represented in the Turkish show because it's about college students, and I'm a college student.
Nice. Cool.
Nice.
Any other TV shows like on television? Do you feel like you're represented?
I watch cartoons
like on cables?
television,
Alright.
so not really.
Cool, thank you. So what TV shows do you watch on Netflix, or that you have watched on Netflix like in the past?
I watched Criminal Minds and I watched The Office.
Alright, and how did you end up watching those TV shows? Did you use the recommender system, or was it influenced by something else?
I ended up watching Criminal Minds because it was during high school in my senior year when I was avoiding all my responsibilities, and I decided to look up something on Netflix. And then The Office, my cousin forced me to watch it because I initially hated it, but I ended up liking it. So
Great.
yeah.
So do you talk about your TV shows with your friends?
Yeah, I used to do it more often, but they don't really care. So I stopped kind of.
And
Do you feel like you're represented in those TV shows, like as a Hispanic woman, or in your family, or anything like that, or in any TV show that you have watched?
Not really. Well, in Jane the Virgin, kind of, because they're all Hispanic and they have dramatic families, and my family is kind of dramatic. So
Alright.
in that sense, I can relate.
So you watched Jane the Virgin on Netflix too?
Yes.
All right, cool. So do you feel like social problems are represented in those TV shows? And in like The Office, do you think people of color are represented, since The Office isn't like a new TV show to rerun?
On The Office, they kind of used people based on their stereotypes, and they kind of make fun of that and they poke fun at that. But at the same time, I feel like they kind of so like Michael, the main character of the show, he's the one that kind of stereotypes everyone, but the characters end up proving that Michael isn't right about the stereotypes. So in that sense, I guess.
Do you feel like that would be acceptable in today's society after like racism and appropriation is spoken out about more?
Well, I guess, because even though racism isn't funny, The Office makes it in a way that can be funny and can be laughed at, I guess. This sounds really wrong.
Alright, so what TV shows do you currently watch or have you watched on Netflix?
I've watched Girl Boss, The 70s Show, The Ranch, 7 Seconds, what is it called? The Orange is the New Black,
Girls Incarcerated?
Girls Incarcerated, yeah.
Okay. And how did you end up watching those shows? Did you use the Netflix recommender system, the one that shows up at the bar, the little one I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Or how did you end up watching them?
Either randomly chose it or suggestions.
Okay.
So do you feel like you're represented in those TV shows? And if yes, in what ways?
Wait, what do you mean, like represent though?
Like, do you see yourself identified in those TV shows? Do you see a Hispanic male in those TV shows?
They're mostly white, so.
They're mostly white dudes?
Yeah.
Do you see any of your issues that you faced as a child, or like any Hispanic issues that you might have faced with profiling and things like that represented in those TV shows? Or any current events like police brutality?
7 Seconds shows police brutality right now in reality, honestly, and it shows a lot that is going on, but we don't see it.
All right, but you feel like it still needs some working on because you're not represented in it, correct?
Yes.
Okay, cool. And do you talk with your friends about these TV shows?
I do at times.
All right, nice. Thank you.
Alright, so now that I've finished the interviews, as you can see, everybody's TV shows are kind of like all over the place. Something that I found very interesting from the first one, Karina, was that she watches a Turkish TV show on Netflix. And I think that is so cool because it's making her culturally aware rather than just basing her opinion on other people and other cultures from stereotypes that are shown in the media. Something that I found interesting from Cindy's interview was that she watches The Office, which is an old rerun, and I asked her, do you think people are represented in that TV show? And she's like, no. And I've seen the cast of The Office. It has like 2 people of color, and it doesn't represent everybody, and if it does, it represents them with their stereotypes, which I thought was very interesting. And then I spoke to Mark and I asked him, do you think you're represented in the media? And he wasn't represented as well. He's a Hispanic male, and I rarely see a Hispanic male in American media. And, well, with the culture and everything as a character, and developed one, not just a basic one with the stereotypes given to him. And I asked him, do you think social issues are spoken about? And he mentioned the TV show 7 Seconds, which is a really cool one if y'all haven't watched it. It speaks about police brutality and how present it still is in today's society. And like I said earlier in the introduction, all of this is due to the priming that the media gives us. So the media tells you and shows you what people that you aren't exposed to around you are like. If all the media shows you of a Hispanic, an Indian person is the stereotypes, that's what you're going to think when you see one in the streets that you don't even know. If you don't have any Hispanic friends and the media showed you this about a Hispanic person, that's what you're going to think about. And for example, I'm a Christian. I was not exposed to the LGBTQ community because of how conservative my family is. And if all I would see in the media were stereotypes, that's what my 10-year-old self would think. It's not until the media has a voice and speaks out about these communities and represents them that we will become more aware, and perhaps our country will better as a whole. People will learn to be more, how do I say this? Be more supportive, be more open, because the media primes us at the end of the day. They prime what we think, and they have a voice, and it's important. And so it's better to have a voice that's not scared of what they say. Netflix is not in a network, and they shouldn't be scared of what to show. So that's why I think Netflix original shows are better. They can represent all these minorities without being scared of having a backlash of not being successful. And so, yeah, thank you.